Warning, this chapter contains adult content, so I have recorded that in a separate video for members only. Darling, you have just begun by Dancing Lassie. Chapter 6. It's freezing outside on the wall, and the tip of his nose has gone numb, but Jaskier can't bear to go back inside. He doesn't want to have to talk to the Witchers. They have made their opinion of him perfectly clear, and he's not impressed with them. For a brief moment, he considers whether it would be possible to transport Ciri safely down the mountain. Uncle Bueno would ensure they were safe in Yspaden until spring came, and then Jaskier could employ every scrap of influence his family possessed to keep her 10 steps ahead of Nilfgaard. He dismisses the thought quickly. Ciri is trapped here for the winter, and as he has no intention of leaving her unsupervised among the Witchers, that means he is too. He's going to have to impose on their hospitality for a while longer, as distasteful as they seem to find him.
Does being a river god protect you from your balls freezing off?
Jaskier jumps as the voice behind him catches him by surprise. He whirls around, heel catching on ice-covered stone, and almost goes tumbling off the wall. A strong arm catches his own and prevents his fall. Of all the Witchers, it's Lambert who has sought him out. In the hand not holding onto Jaskier is a mysterious brown glass bottle. It slashes promisingly as he raises it.
Vodka, he announces. Brewed it myself in the alchemy labs here. It won't stop you feeling the cold, but it'll make you care about it less.
He releases Jaskier so he can open it, taking a hearty swig before handing it to the bard. The smell is enough to make Jaskier's eyes water, but he is cold enough to take a mouthful. Lambert is right. Drink enough of that and you won't care about anything ever again.
May I suggest, Lambert shivers, that if you insist on staying out here, we move along a bit to that handy brazier.
You don't have to stay. Jaskier eyes him suspiciously. Lambert was the very last of the Witchers Jaskier would have expected to extend the metaphorical olive branch. Lambert doesn't reply, just stamps his feet to get some warmth into them. After a moment, he stalks along the wall to light a fire in the nearby brazier, sighing in relief as he holds his hands up to the flame. When he realizes that Jaskier still has hold of his booze, he gestures impatiently for the guy to join him.
Do you know how I came to Kaer Morhen?
He asks after gulping down a good fifth of the bottle. Jaskier shakes his head.
My dearest fucking father handed me over to become a Witcher without a second of hesitation.
Lambert's tone is filled with bitterness. It seems that this is a long-carried wound, one he's been constantly picking at instead of letting time scab it over. Jaskier takes the bottle for another drink instead of replying, encouraging Lambert to carry on.
It was a drunk, and a mean one at that. Beat me and my man bloody most nights. I kept trying to convince her we should leave, but she was too scared about what he'd do if he caught up with us. We almost got lucky. The bastard was attacked by a monster when he was stumbling home one night, except because the world's sense of humor fucking sucks. A Witcher stepped in to save him. Of course, but I can't pay him because he spent every copper we have on liquor.
Lambert goes to take another drink, but he must realize the irony of drinking his own home-brewed booze when complaining about his drunk father, because the bottle stops just short of his mouth.
So he pulls that old trick Geralt is so fond of.
Lot of surprise, Jaskier guesses correctly.
Fucking right. Give me the first thing you see when you get home.
Lambert laughs derisively.
Should have been Ma. She was the one pacing up and down the house, fretting, waiting for him to get back. She heard his footsteps and started toward the door, but I leapt in front of her and opened it first. Wanted to protect her just in case he came in swinging again. He grabbed me by the collar, shoved me at the Witcher, and shut the door in our faces. And Carl, the Witcher, he was one of those mean bastards that ruined the reputation of witches all across the continent. Beat me black and blue all the way to Kaer Morhen for slowing him down, then dumped me on the doorstep before he buggered off.
No wonder Lambert's so prickly.
You know what the worst part is?
Jaskier's heart sinks as he realizes the story is going to get even worse.
I enjoyed my first few years here. The training is hard, but when someone hit me, I got to hit them back. I was surrounded by boys my age, and most of them had past similar to mine. I made friends. But they don't bloody well spend all those years training you, then offer you the choice of participating in the trials. First up is the trial of gases. They tie you down and inject you with the Witcher mutagens. Then you spend the next several days screaming and writhing in agony, fever, delusions, vomiting, and hemorrhaging. They just leave you there in your own filth until your body either adapts to survive or you die, twisted, shriveled, and deformed from the torture they just put you through. 3 in 10 is the official statistic, but only 6 out of the 30 boys in my group made it out alive.
Yasker's eyes burn with unshed tears that no one else will ever spill for those poor boys.
And then they start work on your eyes with the trial of the dreams. You see, they change shape and color during the first trial, but our vision is shit, so they improve it. Make it so we can see better than your average human and can see in the dark. They make sure we're sterilized while they're at it. Most of us already were after the first trial, but they have to make sure. Just one more choice taken away from us. I mean, I'd make a shit father, and I can't stand kids, but that should have been my choice to make.
Yasker doesn't believe that for a second. He wants to hold Lambert's head under the water most days for the language he uses in front of Ciri, but even he cannot deny how good Lambert is with her. He acts impatient and grumpy, but he'll stay with her, repeating a move over and over again until she can do it well enough to satisfy them both. And while he dispenses with table manners himself, he always scolds her when she tries to eat with her elbows resting on the table. Lambert would probably be a good enough father, maybe even a great one.
Then,
Lambert continues, unaware of the complicated feelings in Yasker's heart,
if that weren't enough, there's the final trial. A kind of test where they send us further up into the mountains, where it's full of monsters, and see if we've learned enough to make it back alive. I lost 2 more friends to that.
Yasker begins, voice thick with tears.
Don't sing you're sorry,
Lambert snaps.
I didn't say all that for sympathy. I have a fucking point to make. The point is that during all that, no one ever stood up for me. No one thought to yell at the trainers that this wasn't right. No one cared that the training was brutal and deadly. None of us had a parent willing to fight the Witchers for us. Most of us were giving up without struggle or protest.
He stares Yasker straight in the eye, not making any attempt to hide his expression, his thoughts and feelings on full display. He is openly admiring the river god.
You did. You were willing to rain hell down upon us when we screwed up because she's your daughter. It doesn't matter to you that she's Geralt's child surprise. As far as any Witcher is concerned, that gives him more rights than you.
He laughs at Yasker's involuntary snarl.
But she'll set them straight. You'll protect her from anything, even us.
Damn right! Lambert salutes him with the bottle and takes one more gulp before giving it to Yasker to drain.
You're not too bad, God,
he declares. You're not too bad for an asshole. Yasker shoots back. Not his best comeback, but that vodka was strong, and his head definitely feels a bit fuzzy. Lambert roars with laughter as though Yasker's the greatest wit he's ever met, so the Witcher must be just as affected by the potent liquor.
Can we go inside now, or are you still sulking?
Yasker hesitates, mind replaying the last thing he said to Geralt, and guilt starts to gnaw at his insides, no doubt helped by the alcohol eroding his stomach lining. He shouldn't have accused Geralt of not caring for Ciri. He knows that isn't true. Geralt is still a complete idiot, and he still lied, even if it was only by carelessness and omission. But Yasker should not have thrown Geralt's reluctance to tear a young princess away from her family in his face like that, not in front of everyone.
The others won't give you a hard time,
Lambert assures him, misreading his reluctance. Is Geralt there?
Nah, he skulked in about 10 minutes before they came up here and went straight to his room.
Yasker nods and squares his jaw. He needs to talk to Geralt. Alone. He gives Lambert a nod of thanks and makes his way apprehensively to his and Geralt's room. He hesitates for a moment outside. Should he knock? Before deciding he is being foolish and pushing the door open. Geralt is sitting in front of the fire, head bent studiously over his sword, whetstone gripped tightly in his right hand. Yasker can see how white his knuckles are as the river god enters. Both of them remain stock still, neither sure how to break the impasse. Geralt? Yasker eventually breaks the silence. Please look at me. The Witcher shakes his head. Please, Yasker repeats. Very slowly, with obvious reluctance, Geralt raises his head. The Witcher looks haunted. Pain and regret are written into every line of his face, from the furrowed line of his brow to the stressed crinkles at the corner of his eyes, and down to the pronounced frown lines marring his handsome mouth. His voice cuts off, and he is forced to cough, clearing his throat of the emotions clogging it. What idiots keep spouting that old Witchers don't feel line? Feelings are overwhelming this particular Witcher. I'm sorry, Geralt chokes out. Me too, Yasker admits. Geralt looks at him in shock, then shakes his head mulishly. You don't have anything to be sorry for, Yasker. I'm the one
who loves our daughter, and I should never have implied otherwise. I hurt her.
Geralt's voice cracks, and any lingering anger Jaskier has been feeling dissipates in this moment. In the face of Geralt's own self-loathing, he cannot bear to add any more to his witcher's burden. He wants to shoulder his share and split Geralt's heavy load between them. He falls to his knees in front of his lover and gently sets Geralt's sword to the side. He settles into the space left behind, between the Witcher's knees, and reaches up to wind his arms around Geralt's neck. The Witcher is forced to bend forward to accept the embrace, as Jaskier rests his forehead against Geralt's jaw.
You didn't mean to, he whispers, and we caught it in time. She's going to be fine. I should have told you what we were feeding her.
Geralt is trembling against him.
Why didn't you? I didn't think. Those herbs were just what you ate at Kaer if you were training. I didn't realize it was something I should have told you. I swear, Jaskier, I didn't know.
Jaskier hushes him, unwinding one arm so he can cup Geralt's face, stroking his thumb along the witch's cheekbone, Lambert's tale of broken and bleeding boys still haunting him. Of course, Geralt hadn't seen an issue with what he did. He didn't know what a normal childhood felt like. He had nothing to compare with his own brutal upbringing. Jaskier can't help but imagine a small, vulnerable Geralt being strapped down, forced to mutate or die. No one fought for Geralt, just as no one fought for Lambert.
I love you.
He breathes into Geralt's skin. He needs his witcher to know this. Neither of them have said it before. They haven't needed to. Geralt had willingly bound himself to Jaskier when he lured Jaskier into taking a swim with him in their river. It was a gesture that went beyond any words. But he needs to say it now. Needs Geralt to hear his love. One of Geralt's hands comes up to clasp the one against his face, anchoring Jaskier to him.
You messed up,
Jaskier confirms, pulling his head away from Geralt's jaw so they can look at each other.
But I still love you, and I know you love Ciri.
Dry lips brush against his palm as Geralt turns his head.
Not just Ciri.
His words are muffled by Jaskier's hand.
I know.
Jaskier smiles at him, though Geralt can't see it. His eyes are closed as he breathes in the scent of Jaskier's skin. Ina's last words to him echo through the bard's mind.
Geralt,
he begins hesitantly.
Ina said something strange.
An amberite cracks open to peer at him incredulously.
You want to talk about your sister now?
Jaskier flicks Geralt's nose with his thumb and middle finger, enjoying the look of startled outrage this action earns him. Geralt almost looks cute when Jaskier manages to surprise and bewilder him.
She said I should ask you about the last conversation you had with her if I wanted to know how much you love me.
Geralt looks distinctly embarrassed. Jaskier is intrigued.
Must I?
Geralt pleads, pulling Jaskier up and onto his lap. He wraps his arms around the bard's waist and hides his face on Jaskier's shoulder. Yes, Jaskier informs him emphatically. Geralt sighs and begins unlacing Jaskier's fur-lined winter doublet. It's a good thing he does, because between the fire and Geralt's unnaturally hot body, Jaskier is beginning to feel uncomfortably warm.
It was after the mountain, but before I found you in Lenhove.
Jaskier nods and helps Geralt slide the doublet off his shoulders. The Witcher raises his head only long enough to remove it, before burying his face back into Jaskier's shirt. Sword-calloused fingers reach for his wrist and begin undoing the small fiddly buttons that prevent his sleeves from riding up his arms.
I missed you, but I was still paranoid about my feelings, about what was real.
Jaskier does his best to brush away the hurt that admission can still bring. Geralt worked it out eventually, is what matters.
Your sister wasn't impressed. She made me summarize what it is about you that I love the most.
Geralt's managed to roll up his sleeve and is running his mouth up his arm, leaving ardent kisses in his wake. Jaskier scarcely dares to breathe. Geralt has proven himself to be surprisingly adept at physical affection, but words like the ones he's speaking now are much more rare.
What was your answer?
He prompts breathlessly when Geralt does nothing but continue to press kisses to the inside of his elbow. Geralt mumbles something against his skin that Jaskier almost doesn't make out.
What?
He exclaims, wrestling his arm from Geralt's grip.
My forearms? What's so special about them? Surely my voice or my smile should be my most attractive feature. Lots of people have said so. No.
Geralt growls, seizing back the arm he'd just lost and sucking a bruise onto the skin halfway up that forearm.
Those are for everyone to love. This
He shakes the arm.
is mine. You use these to look after me. No one else. I'm the only one you rolled up your sleeves for.
Jaskier is not sure he fully understands, but decides he will examine that declaration later because Geralt has stood up, Jaskier is still in his arms, and is moving towards the bed. Jaskier is dropped onto the mattress with a soft thump, and then Geralt is on him, kissing him hungrily as he rolls up the other sleeve of Jaskier's shirt. He pulls back suddenly, causing Jaskier to let out a pathetic whine of protest, but it's only so he can divest himself of his own clothing before yanking Jaskier's boots, socks, trousers, and underwear off with brutal efficiency. Jaskier tries to help, sitting up slightly and reaching an arm over his shoulder to yank his shirt off over his head, but Geralt's hands are on his chest, pushing him down.
I want it left on.
The Witcher confides, eyes burning as they take in the sight of Jaskier, flushed and panting in only his shirt with the sleeves rolled up.